Okay, it's confession time. When I first strapped on the pads as an adult goalie, I really did it so that I could be a better strength coach to you guys, so that I could sort of feel what muscles fatigue, what are the movements that are really challenging or overly fatiguing. As soon as I did strap on the pads and all the gear, right away that goalie gene kicked in, and so I've been playing ever since. Probably I'm into maybe my 12th year, recreational goalie, not trying to be an elite level goalie, not trying to become your goalie coach, none of that stuff. I'm just out here enjoying stopping a few pucks, just like most of you are. But when I started out, I didn't know anything. I couldn't do anything. I felt more like a fish than a goalie. And it took actually a long time until I made a save and a move where I was like, I felt like a goalie there. I felt like a real goalie, you know, like I'm a real boy, I'm a real goalie. And there were a couple of exercises that I worked on that really, really helped. One was on the ice and one was off the ice. So I'm gonna share just those two simple exercises with you in today's video in hopes that if you're a beginner goalie, regardless of your age, that these will help you feel like a real goalie too. So when I used to, sometimes still do, but when I would butterfly slide, I would either spin in a circle, I would push and go nowhere but fall down on my hands, or I would just completely wash out and go nowhere, and just kick my skate out and go nowhere. So those were kind of my three big problems. So when I would practice, and I would just go to stick and puck and go along the sideboards near center ice and just practice. So what I learned was part of the reason I was going nowhere or falling over or spinning in a circle was because I wasn't stabilizing through this hip. So if I'm pushing that way, I want to be stable through this hip. So I started just simply squeezing my glutes and bracing with my abdominals a little bit, just a light brace. But when I did that, then I could actually go somewhere. Then I had stability in this lead leg and I was pushing against that. So how did I practice that? Because I still kind of had this problem of, well, do I push off my toe or my heel or the middle, or like I couldn't get a consistent push. So I thought, okay, well, let's stick with that stability idea and go to the sideboards where it's a nice stable pushing surface so I can just practice getting the feel of pushing. Let me show you what I mean. So this is all I did, and I just broke it down to its simplest parts. I got at the wall, I just put my skate against the wall, and it's not gonna wreck your skate blades, we're not smashing in and out. I'm just getting there, and then I'm thinking of being like squeezing this glute muscle, basically, bracing a little with my abdominals, as if someone was gonna come along and just go like that to my belly, okay? So that's how much, nothing hard. And then I have my skate and my pad, toe of my pad on the board, and then I just pushed. And I didn't do anything else. And I didn't even try to push hard. I just tried to get a feeling of sliding on this leg, because it requires some hip stability, which we'll talk about later. But just getting here, and I'm gonna practice sort of having my hands and my head where I'm going, and just a little push. Then as I got more of a feel for it, then I would push a little faster. I might even pick up that pad and try to push, but I would just add a little bit more complexity to it until I got really comfortable pushing off that pad. And then I just moved away from the wall a little bit and did the same thing and found what worked for me. Because I've been to tons of camps, I've worked with tons of goalies, and in talking to them, depends on the situation, of course, but some prefer to push off their toe, some prefer to push off their mid skate, some push a little more off their heel. And I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I just know that a lot of different goalies do it a lot of different ways, probably based on their mobility and their anatomy. But then I just worked on pushing off. So getting the push and then adding in a little stop and resetting. So a push, a stop, closing that 5-hole. A push, a stop, closing that 5-hole. And just nice, gentle movements. Practicing quality reps because you're trying to teach your brain a new motor pattern. And if I'm just trying to go fast and I'm crazy legs, that's what my brain is learning. It's like, oh, this is what it looks and feels like to be a goalie, which isn't exactly what we're after. So we want to practice just nice, low intensity, like a 4 or 5 out of 10, getting the movement, finding the stability, and then you can add more speed to it. So then you can add a little more speed, a little more change of direction to what you're doing, but just build it up gradually. The other element that helps you do that more efficiently and effectively is single knee balance. So learning how to stabilize up and over this hip as you're pushing so that you're not kind of a soup sandwich in there. And I'm going to show you one drill when we go back to the lab. I'll show you one drill that's made a world of difference. And it's one that most goalies, even high-level goalies, aren't practicing just because they've never thought of it. So I'll show you that when we go back to the lab. The issue is both strength, a specific kind of strength, and stability, and also just motor pattern, figuring out how to stabilize and push. Let's work on that dynamic stabilization part, because if you're off balance and you feel this, if you're off balance, you can't do anything. You can't generate any power. This is the simple exercise I was telling you about. You're just gonna, I've just folded up a towel, something to cushion my knee. You could wear your knee pads if you wanted to. You don't have to wear your goalie pads. That doesn't make it goalie specific. But you're just going to try to put your hands on your hips, or if you need your hands to give you a little balance to start with, that's fine. But you're just gonna lift up this front foot and you're gonna learn how to balance, ideally with your hands on your hips, because you do this on the ice already. When we are using our hands to try and keep our balance, well then we don't really have what we call stick discipline. We're kind of all over the place, and it sort of just leads to, it puts us in the spin cycle. So ideally we want to learn how to stabilize that hip using just our torso and our hip joint. Think again, like I told you when we were on the ice, just if you had like bracing with your abdominals as if someone was gonna come and just pat your belly like that, not punch you in the belly, and then pick up that foot and try to stay nice and stable. And if you're getting a little bit wild, kind of fight for it. Don't fight for it so that you nose dive and, you know, pop yourself in the nose, but fight for it. Learn how to find your balance in an unbalanced position. If you need to, then yeah, put your hands down, put your foot down, start again. Start with about trying to get 30 seconds in a row with your hands, then 60 seconds, then work on putting your hands on your hips and trying to get up to 60 seconds. When I test goalies that I work with, we do a little baseline testing. If they can do this for 60 seconds, then that's fine. We don't need to do it for 10 minutes or, you know, we just need to learn how to do it. And if you can do it for 60 seconds, then you're pretty good. There really is nothing better than, you know, making that slide, getting your glove on that puck, or even having it hit you in the belly and swallowing it up in your bread basket, and just kind of feeling like a real goalie. Like that was a real goalie save. It wasn't just I happened to fall at an opportune time. These are two simple drills that really helped, and it really stems on being stable in that lead hip, not the pushing hip, and learning how to push as you go through. So learning how to push off that leg, finding the sweet spot in the ice for you, and learning how to link that push. And doesn't have to be as hard as you can, because even on the ice we want to grade those pushes so that you're just getting where you need to be, not pushing so hard that then you have to slam on the brakes. So that is for my fellow newbie goalies who are just trying to figure this all out. I know some of you too have taken 15 or 20 years off playing, and it's like, okay, I don't even know what this butterfly thing is, and I have no idea how to do it. This is a great place to start. If you found this helpful, if you want more, just kind of sharing my beginner advice with you, let me know, and I'll make sure that happens. All right, I love you guys. I'll catch you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.